Asra kese nkɔmɔ bibia sɛn na nwumre nso magye pene a mode mɔfidi ato a 24 radio. Ɛbrɛ du sɛn nsɛm a ɛgye ntrɛha ɛwɔ Ghana. Deɛ aboaboa no a yɛato no din trending news yɛde bɛso mo. Ɛna nsɛm a yɛde ba no deɛ di mu akotene ebi ɛne sɛ. Ɛna da yi ɛyɛ ɛda wiase nyinaa yɛyi ɛde asi hɔ no a yɛde ɛkae suban anaasɛ akɔmfohyɛ ɛho. Ene eye World Suicide Day na Ghana ase nso yetimi ajoin ewiase nyina yedi sa eda no na no amempanifo pii aka ensem afa akomfoshe eho.
Some people, adolescents especially, who want to engage in self-harm or take their own lives. Some of them may look quite trivial to you, and but to us it's quite interesting. Somebody has thought of taking their own life because they see their friends on Facebook all the time having fun, and they have been told to stay home by their parents.
Yeah.
Okay? And also, I have dealt with a young person before who wanted to take her own life because one of her dormitory mates told her that she looks like a boy.
Sanso and there you also kopiem ewo Upper East region, Sanso and North East region a rehosam nko ensuo atwi afa miaye outdoor p ewo Upper East region Sanso and North East region enye asem keto akra no ena Ghana e mampani abedi akire His Excellency Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia ede enoma outdoor akwakoche busuafo a omo eho aka Sanso ena ode ensempi atudwa ode ato won anim se omo eye aban na ye hyehye se ne be ya ombeboa ama hawaya ato yenuanma omo ewo mentifido no omo etimi efremu
by combination of the spillage of the backbreaker and heavy rainfall. So we've been really hit with a double whammy. We always know about the perennial spillage.
Sanso ena Ashim Sakawa boys comment no and also trendy wo Ghana hasi anya asem keto akra ene dey Ambassador Victor Smith ede ensempi atujwa awochire mu se ohwe demonstration I call so enra dey amanfo a omo se omo eye concerned citizens of Ochiman eye omo demonstration ene dey Dr. Smith so ede atu ejwa se sa demonstration I call so enra no amanyokio bi ehye akire ena omubogem omuye amanfo yodium na sa amanyokio no eye NPP amanyokio no.
It was purely political and high and cry. It is a diversionary attempt to get people not to pay attention to our manifesto and the good things in that manifesto.
Sanso ena assemblymen phobia omo enso ewo mema say omo da betujwa say ohwe NDC for ensama omo kan say omo eba ombepe sika kakra no de atu assemblyman for eka no eye anhye no omo ani de akire ye papa pa ebeboa oman yi a enye asem keto akra ensem we eni afoforo pi na mosomfo edu donko magin konwa nwumre ya mede eba besum ni ewo emretia edi yen animu yi. Afei ensem no emu enchiremu eni afi bia kamia ye se aye afahye ede ama yenuanom a omo ewo mentifido ensuo eduru tobrese a na chese nya asem keto akra afi nso sene afahye no guso ekoso no a ese amanfo adwapade ene enoma ahodo no afi nso enye sronkokra enipa dodo a etimi afrimu ewo nsu yiri APM ewo Upper East region Sanso and North East region na kamia say enipa be se edu na etimi afri mu a enya asem keto akra ni nyina eyensu brantama eto afi Sanso na Bagredam ayebia tuma ensuo etwi efa mentifi apuye mantam no Sanso na mentifi North East region no sa mantam imi no tezenya asem keto akra amanfoɔ adwapadeɛ pii ɛna ɛtumi ayera anantwie ɛne mpɔnkye ne mmoadoma ahodoɔ pii saa nso ɛna mfomdwuma ahodoɔ ne nyinaa nsuo yi a ɛfiri Burkina Bagre Dam mu aba no ɛba ɔman yi mu ase no atwi afa saa adwapadeɛ ahodoɔ yi so saa nso ɛna nsuo a ɛtɔ afe no ɛnyɛ nsu ketewa ne nyinaa ka ho bi ɛna ama onyene yi ɛtumi aba abɛto yɛ nuanom a wɔn ɛwɔ mɛntifi do na ɛfiri Bogatanga ɛkɔ Bɔkɔ deɛ ɛnya sɛm ketewa koraa nsuo no ahohoro ɛkwan no bridge a ɛtwe ɛda saa ɛkwan no mmienu ntam no nsuo no apia no nyinaa afiri hɔnom a sɛ wokɔhwɛ a ɔtadeɛ paa nnipa ntumi nkɔ saa nso ɛna nnipa ntumi ɛma ɛnɛ da yi ɛnɛ da yi yɛma mpanin abɛdi akyire yɛwura Alhaji Mahmood Bawumia ɛde n'ani akɔ akɔpiem ɛwɔ bridge no baabi a asɛe no na ɛhɔ ɛna ɔne nsɛmtwerɛfoɔ ɛkasaeɛ a ɔde ato dwa sɛ awerɛhosɛm ɛna ato yɛn nyinaa na Ghana ban gu so a ɛyɛ nhyehyɛeɛ sɛ nsuo no ɛkɔ fam a sɛ contractor ɛwɔ kwan no so yi deɛ bridge no anim yɛ a ɔmo ɛde nneɛma ɛbɛgu kwan mu ama bridge no ɛtumi atom ama akwantufoɔ ɛtumi akɔ saa nso ɛna ɔmo ɛtumi aba na ɔsan so ɛde nneɛma ahodoɔ ɛma yɛn nuanom a ɔmo ɛho ɛtumi aka na ɔmo ɛfi baabi ɔmo ɛteɛ ɛne wɔn fo adwuma nsuo ɛtumi asesa no nyinaa ɛkɔ no ma ɔmo bibi kakra sɛ ne bɛyɛ ɔmo de bɛtwitwa ɔmo ho nkakra na ɛno ɛntɔ nkyɛn no nso sɛnea afe biara no wɔn ebie dam no etum a etwi fa yɛmɛ mu ase no afe etwa mu no na okyerɛ mu sɛ bɛɛsɛ gallon bɛɛsɛ 1 million no mu etumi ebie tum na nso afe deɛ million no bɛɛsɛ aduonu nkono ɛna wɔn etumi ebie mu etum a nti ɛna nsuo no edi saa onyeni no ɛwɔ ɔmɛm ha sei na ɔsɛ hyehyɛ aban no edi gu akwan mu no ɛnumanimu yɛ a yɛn nuanom a wɔn ɛwɔ mɛntifi no wɔn betumi ade wɔn ho afiri saa ɔhaw no emu.
Caused by combination of the spillage of the Bagre Dam and heavy rainfall. So we've been really hit with a double whammy. We always know about the perennial spillage from the Bagre Dam. And as at last year, they were spilling around 8 million gallons a minute. And we were reasonably able to control. Last year, a lot of desilting of rivers took place. And the impact of the spillage was relatively controlled. This year, instead of the 8 million gallons that they started with about 4 million, went up to 8 million. They are now spilling about 29 million gallons a day, which is extremely large as far as my information is concerned. And then they combine with that the rains that have come down at the same time, and that has resulted in flooding across Upper East and Northeast regions. Here, just at the Kupori Bridge, we've seen that the roads have essentially eaten away the road, and you have a big gap left, and nobody can cross from Sevilla going towards Cook because there's this breakaway of the road. So we have come here to assess what the situation is. There is a contractor on this road, Volga Bokuru, and once the water subsides, we've already talked to the contractor about how we are going to deal with this matter once the water subsides, and they have some ideas about how to quickly move in and deal with this matter, assess the structural strength of the bridge that is just outside here, and we will do that. What we are very concerned, however, in the whole area is about lives and livelihoods of our people. Who've lost their livestock, they've lost their plants, the farming that they have done. They've lost a lot of crops as a result, and we have to find a way to help these farmers, to provide relief for these farmers, because when you lose your farm, that a year's income that you have lost. So we will have to take that into consideration and see how we can cushion all of these farmers who have lost their livelihoods. At the end of the day, this is a problem that we have kept experiencing year after year. And the question that I'm sure is on the minds of many Ghanaians is, what are we really doing about it? As I said, we have basically understood that to deal with this problem fundamentally, we have to have a flood control in the context of the Palugu Dam project. That is the most important antidote to all of this problem. And that is why we have moved and secured the Palugu Dam project. This project is going to be the biggest dam project that we have had in the northern part of Ghana. The biggest investment is about $1 billion. Now, the contractors at the Palugu Dam are on site. There are 3 contractors. They are on site. And currently, they are also, they cleared the site all the way to the river, and they are waiting for the water to subside before they really start work. They need to divert the water. And so they will wait for the rains to subside, and then they will divert the water and start. But that is the fundamental solution. Thankfully, the consultations with the chiefs and opinion leaders during this process, because there was advanced information.
Eno eye Ghana yeman peni abedi echire His Excellency Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia ena yetene nkan wa bra na ode enoma ahodo ema yenuanuma omo ewo mentifin epuye emantam num wa bra boko ene boga ekwan eda sa krimi no entem no preja etwa emuno nsuatimi atwi afa ne nyina sese ukohwe nsu a sede esi esu efa na eyirifa enya asem keto akra nipa entimi ntwa sanso ena enipa entimi free bokoma sanso no binso free boga enko boko eno eye arehosema etimi atoye nuanoma womo ewo upper east region ebi ena yetwa eguye no na ye free upper east region a yenyi ahome ewo north east region ehonso enya asem keto akra sanso ya akra enya asem keto akra esa upper east and north east oka eboma ena enipa edu etimi ahwere omonkwa efa nsubrantama etoyi sanso ena bagredama ye biatuma etwi abefa amanfo enyuma ahodo so omo enfom nyuma ahodo so no na regional minister owo honso etimi ekoye amanfo moa woma ensio etwi afa omo efia omo eni baabi da no nnuane ahodo a ne bo eso million Ghana yensika million baako otimi yetimi ede ape enoma akoma yenuanom a omo nso eho aka ewo mantam num enya asem keto akra ne no ena ode atodwa se afi ensio a eto ene bagredama ye biatum no esneda afi de ide esneda na amanfo kwahunyehia mpa ya enye asem keto akra ne so aban no obo no homoden se ne be ya wona womo eho aka no womo etimi ade womo eho na opani a wono ena woye mantam no esoafo Yura Solomon Boa North East region ono ena oye regional minister oho ono ena okodomo yenuanom omo eho ake a odesa no man ekoma omo se ne be ya omo so eho ebesisi omo so emprempre.
Passenger has been cut off completely from the rest of the Mokuru. Passenger is part of the West Bambusi municipality. So that's the next community from here. So it means that nobody can access any social services from the West Bambusi municipality coming from the Mokuru unless the upper East region. So this is the more reason why we keep talking about the horrible multi-purpose dam, that people should embrace and pray that
these constructions see the light of the day to solve this problem once and for all. I can tell you that at the end of the day, when this water is gone, the devastation, the facilities that are going to be destroyed, especially water points, food stuff is something that you cannot get described. So I want to call on Ghanaians to say a very big thank you to His Excellency the President, especially who goes around the Northeast region. There is no politics about it. What we are saying is something that we are all feeling it here. I am very sure that everybody here is just praying that we finish this engagement and leave here within the next 5 minutes. So everybody is scared about the water. Because we are in the middle of the water. But that is service to Mother Ghana. We are here to let the whole country know that the place is really, the situation is a very terrible one. And I'm sure that our people will listen to the information that is coming from the meteorological department, that we should not take anything for granted going forward, because more rains are yet to come. So if more rains are yet to come, even those who are capable enough, and they are the canoe people.
Or the football sama yenuanom a omo ete eben baby ensuo yi etwifa ne se enim ya wamo ensori emfiri honom na feikra ne nsuo no dodo na eba anyesa ebia wajopade efiri nsa na honkwan so na esa ababeto aso eno ti wamo entwe wamo ho emfiri mia nsuo no eyiri afa ne nyina.
They should listen to the advice and stay away from the water for some time now. We are getting from the funeral house where we are counting the losses of two of our brothers who lost their land before they had to come and take the risk of harvesting their maize. They were good as I believe that they were as good as these people who are also paddling their canoes. We want to encourage everybody that we should stay away from this situation for now, so that when everything goes down, then life and death number. This is a force majeure. This is something that is beyond human understanding. And once it's beyond human understanding, nobody has an antidote apart from the fact that we have to ensure that the problem of the people them construction sees the light of day. This is what I want to leave with every big and Harry in the Northeast region, and for that matter, the problem of doing excellent. So I want to thank you once again for being part of this trip. See, understand what is happening around this area. In Nigeria, obviously, at least $1 billion, almost $1 billion project is something that will really go a long way to at least help this unfortunate situation. Once and for all, we have the leader who think through and is able to make sure that the things that are put in place are things that will really go a long way to resolve major crises that have engulfed this country for a very long time. So be rest assured that when we are able to finish the construction of the Pogo Mosquito Dam, in future when you see us here, then we are talking about how they are using the dam to really get involved in farming activities all year round. And not to be talking about the fact that the people's farms have been destroyed, lives have been lost, and what have you. So His Excellency the President, Nana Adongo Akufo-Addo's government is very, very serious addressing these issues. And I'm sure that we will one day continue to pray for good health for him. We can probably continue to pray for good health for the Honorable DC, the parliamentary candidate, Honorable Mustafa Yusuf, who has been all over trying to see how he can also contribute his quota in making sure that temporarily this family smiles. We were able to put smiles on the faces of this family. Thank you.
Eno arehosema ekoso ewo etifi epuye mantam no sanso ena northeast region amantam yimu eno ena sa arehosemi esie na enkosi daben kamia kwese aye afahye afi bia eduru abosome ngotwenum eba de nsuo no yiniti se to se dia ena enuanom omo wo mentifido no saa enkosi da ben kra ena ye nuanom yi se eho eye nsuo kwan a so mbɛtwe omo ho afiri honom na omo aba baabi a nsuo no eto a entimi entwimfa ho na di omo dwuma eno bɛboa se mo befa ne se land no eye rich nti abribia mbɛkɔ akɔtena ho na mabrɛ mo mogya ni wie a na nsuo nso asa betwi ɛkɔ na munya hwe emfrim no eno eye sene se mo free ho no ma no yesene se obɛbregu a wa abra ontimi enya hwe aban no so fa ne nansi fom ene nadmofo fa omo nan ensi fom na omo emfa emra engu akwan mu se ne be ya ebɛbɔ ye nuanom ema ye nuanom enkonko diguma o ba bi nsuo no etwifa etimi ema ebinom kra hwe omo nkwa ema adwapade ahodo nso efree Ghana for yensa ensanso enonso nsanto nche no aban no sa eboka ahodo edema wona omo ahwe omo adwapade eno ebeboa asense afibia ye nuanom yo adwuma na adwuma nachi omo entimi enya aketua bia enfree mu ya reho sempa obetimi do comment efasa ensem yi akọ yen social yen Facebook page honum ho eye akwantufo radio UK okọ ehonum a obetimi edo message wadwenkyere efa sa ensem yi yeto trending news no eso yebekai a ene eye eda wiase nyina ayi esi honum ede kai akomfose ene eye World Suicide Day yenuanom a asem bi ekire wo mo eso a sabi omo entimi emie so enkire afoforo ana ne nua na wato ne kon ahoma ene dai ene wiase nyina yesi wonom a yede kai sa suban no na Ghana for yenye ho ensinchen ye ne wiase nyina ena edi sa eda no na eno ena Ghana for enso etimi abon modern ene dai omuhia nsamkyerefo na omo de krata eba bontin be kyerɛkyerɛ mu sɛdeɛ noma esi kɔ ɛwɔ ɔmam ha sei na kyerɛ nya asɛm keto akra na nsɛm a omo de to nsɛmkyerɛfo anim no ekyerɛ mu sɛ okɔ nkrasi a wuyi enipa du a mpanimfo nipa edu esi hɔ nom a ɛkame ayɛ sɛ baako bia ɛwɔ ɔpɛ sɛ wɔhyɛ ne ho ahoma eku ne ho free wiase mu ha sei sanso ɛna okɔ junior high school nso a uyi enipa edu a emu miensa abonitimu wa abanitimu sɛ oyi ne ho efiri wiase a yiwo mu yimu okonto aso school senior high school nso a ɛno nso saa uyi nipa du a emu miensa abo mutimu posenka omo ebeyi omo ho afiri honom na kratom de babonte no ekire mu sɛ enipa 200,000 ɛna omo pɛsen komo eku omo ho efiri ewiase mu ase a na kyerɛ sɛ enye asɛm ketewa kra na ɛno ɛna amanfo akasa afa sa ensem ho yepa enye asɛm ketewa na posifo nso uyi enipa edu nso a emu mienu ekomiensa no nso omabo mutimu posenka womo ebetimi ayi womo ho afri ewiase yene enimdifo etimi di nkomo efasa ensem yi eho Dr. Ernest Dakwa we psychologist yene no edi nkomo no sei ena okire mu se die ntia ebinom abo mutimu po so omo ebeku womo ho okire mu se awofo no dodo na ema omo ani enku omo ema ho omato omo ma ajeje mu di obedie di obehye di ha omo adwirimu any physical aspects of their lives no wamo enhwe ni nyina omato omo asaram ni nyina eka ho bi ena akra wo JHS anase wo SHS na aba ne tirim sanso ena omo ede social media platforms abai ebiti se Facebook okọ honma emebuni se omo danda omo ho ewo mfoni ahodo mani na eno eka ho bi eno so etimi ema emofran bi eba omo tirim se wakachi wa abrabom eno nti wonyi ne ho emfiri ewiase so okohwese ne nua ede mfoni fefefe ato Facebook na manfo comment obeka se na mekura adai ena medie mintimi enya fon fefefe bi anase mintimi nchenta de kama sei bi entimi ntwamfo ni fefe bi enfento Facebook ema menamfo nso en like ana omo en comment bi na je se waje ne ho atum se wakachi wabrabom wono wo free wiase kura ope eno timi contribute ema amanfo enya sa atenka ne se wanyi ne ho enfree ewiase eno enton chen so said ye yisi etimi di ye namfo for anaasɛ yɛ kansɛm ɛkyerɛ yɛ nuanom no ɛno nso ɛka ho bi na obi etimi ka kyerɛ ne yɔnko sɛ wɔyɛ ɔbaa o nanso ne baa wɔyɛ no ne ho nipadua no akɔ ano ɛsɛ obi a ɔyɛ bɛrima na ɛno etimi ma nipa no bi ɛba wɔn tirim sɛ wɔn nso enyi wɔn ho mfiri ewiase mu ha sɛ na kyerɛ sɛ ɛnya asɛm ketewa koraa saa nso ɛna ɔde tu dwa sɛ sɛdeɛ nsɛmtwerɛfoɔ yɛsi ɛka nsɛm ɛfa suicide anaasɛ akɔmfohyɛ ho no ɛyɛ adeɛ bi a ɛwɔ fam paa yɛni ɛnkɔ ho yɛntaa repɔto ɛmfa saa nsɛm no ho sɛ yɛni ɛkɔ ho no yɛbɔ dawuro ɛde tia anaasɛ yɛde yɛn kyerɛkyerɛ ɛde tia saa akɔmfohyɛ a gyidie sɛ ɛno ɛbɛtumi ama akɔmfohyɛ a ɛkɔ so wɔ mɛm ha sei no ɛso ɛtumi ate.
Young people, adolescents especially, want to engage in self-harm or take their own lives. Some of them may look quite trivial to you, and but to us, it's quite interesting. Somebody has thought of taking their own lives because they see their friends on Facebook all the time having fun, and they have been told to stay home by their parents.
Yeah.
Okay. And also, I have dealt with a young person before who wanted to take her own life because one of her dormitory mates told her that she looks like a boy, and she said she stood in the front of a mirror and she looked at her body and she couldn't compare herself. She couldn't see the other things that the other girls had on their bodies, on her body. So she thought she wasn't girl enough and she had to end it. So the reasons are wide and varied. Yeah. But it all comes down to the fact that parents and caregivers, significant caregivers, are now going to have to pay increasing attention to what goes on in the lives of these young people. Yeah. Because like what the lady said, and I really very much empathize with her, and I've seen a lot of young people who have been in that situation. The thing is going on with her, and the parents or the immediate family know nothing about it. So they look at this person, they live with this person, they pay for the person, they think they are parenting, they are doing everything for you. But what's going on with this young person, the family has no idea. So in this lady's case, thank God she had a friend who actually followed up to check on her, because the family would have been around while their child is dying. And this is happening. A lot of children in senior high schools do not feel they can talk to their parents. The parental atmosphere, the home atmosphere does not give them that opportunity. And so if they don't want to, they take their lives. There's something about every culture that actually exposes its people to things like this. So in our particular culture, there are certain things that happen in our parenting, in our relationships, in our social interactions, and in our cultural expectations of our people that can expose such a person or that make a person want to take their lives. So for example, if you look at the young people, the kind of things that they are exposed to online, especially with online activity on social media and all the other information content that they source from online, there are things that their parents would not appreciate or would not like seeing them engage themselves in. So for example, you've got young people who want to be makeup artists because they've watched the YouTube and they've seen Kim Kardashian or somebody doing makeup and all those kinds of things. And their parents want this child to be a medical doctor, a lawyer, or something, and this child wants to be a makeup artist. So that kind of thing can bring a conflict and can make the child withdraw from communicating with the parents. Also, if you move it up a little bit on the age group, you find a lot of young men and young women. And if you look at the GPA press release that came out, one of the reasons we stated in there was that especially for men, there are traditional expectations of masculinity. And when certain men feel like they fall short of those expectations, they feel like ending it all because they don't want to face the stigma and they don't want to also be seen as failures in their community. So if a man is like 30 years old and jobless and still living with their parents, you will find a lot of their friends teasing them, laughing at them, or something like that. If a woman is within that age group and is not married, or doesn't have a child, or has lost maybe 2-3 marriages, has gone into 3 marriages, and all are broken up, the person becomes some kind of stigmatized. And this is what brings ideas of, oh, I'm not worth it, I'm not lucky in this life, this is not for me, and they want to.
Now, Joseph Osafo, and also a psychologist, or Kwame Nkrumah, University of Ghana, Legon, and also Eka Ebi,
The past 1 year. Because of the reasons I school call relationship is an examination issue, conflictual problems, if you or go through abuse. Among school going deaf adolescents, 1 in 10 report attempting suicide the past 1 year. Local secondary school, 2 in 10 students report intentional self-injury or self-poisoning in their lifetime. Where even police officers, 3 in 10 police officers in urban Ghana report having have thoughts about taking their own lives. Suicidal ideation is as dangerous as the attempt. In which I say about 30% of those who are thought say attempt and as America have the plan say okay one man so and America so and 50% of them will act on it.
Na say and also ensema and day agent ha ewo omem ha say na Joseph Osafo started to ejwa say ebi ewo honoma omo eko ha omo no omo ka kire omo enua ana say bibi kire omo so no omo ye omo adwene say omo eyi omo enkwa efri ewiase ase a na amafo di omo atem say na adenti na akwa wokose no akomfo bete say na hire na eja no nti na akose no akomfo ogina wa say akwa ekwaso a wo hire eja wa na akose ho akomfo we nyina ye de epiaka na eno na o kiremu say sa ensensem no e wo say ye jaka sa judgmental issues na ya na ye spread this ye tisi obi kwa akose no akomfo a ye say ani akwa ewagimi akwa anim nyansa no e wo say ni manimu ya ye jaka.
Don't be judgmental, don't condemn, don't trivialize. So be say because my girlfriend just now girlfriend you should never be dismissive and trivialize the reasons for which somebody wants to die. Or be saying losing my juma. Some banking crisis here pay. If you look, we surveyed about most 300 people, and if you look at the index of those who wanted to end their lives because of loss of job, and don't be judgmental, don't be dismissive, don't silence somebody who says I want to kill myself.
Eno Joseph Osafo ono ne tene nka no sade to dwa say say obi attempt say obehye no akomfo na so anya anhye no akomfo a na aban na sa atwunu twididididi ne de no akwakodina asemdi ebra bia na ya sa atwuna so o say aban no eye bibi efa ho a enka ebeboa pa.
So be attempted to imagine na say also by fortitudes na me na dum wura say any pan yenchino yemonika onko dem baby afiniensa. In fact, in 2013 in your data actually says some judges were vigorously applying the rule, but the question is this: you go for a prison, your data be about prisoner, go for a prison. A good number of them, about 27%, were attempting suicide. And the one go prisoner and solve the matter. Punishment we have seen in psychological science, sociology, say punishment or punishing the attempts by but never will solve the problem.
And how Joseph Osafo a psychologist and another day yes you are kai we are seeing a day kai akomshe and I know more upon coma omo edesa enchirimuno ede emaye na nado dan kwakufado ewo bono amantam no emu ni nyina ye entoabo a oguso a obo na wadi enkomo anase watwa homam se tuabodom ekwan ahodo a ewo ho no yemfa mfidie enguso na yenye no latest one pa abafoforo akwan no be first class road a chese nya asem keto akra na eno enrada omo eboju data womo etwa ahomam se ne be akwan no ebe hihye so ama omo etimi aye na akwan no ho enkomodie no abra omo eboju adwatada na nanom hemfo ewotu abodom ene Nana Akufo-Addo Ghana Mampeni edi enhyiamu no say ena Ghana Mampeni His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo ede to tuabodom man hene ne Ghana for enim
ya papa nene nso de bae besa ekwan ya ba be ya wa say ewura mwakwata kan mumwa contractor for no na adwuma na nkoso wa no makasa bia emba na ba de say so no ochiame ebra ogun sa no eyi apaye no okase
ọpẹ asomdwe ẹni baako yẹ ẹwọ tí obodo ẹnoa ni nyinaa nso yẹ hwehwẹ yẹn fa yẹ ba bẹ yẹ ẹnfa so ẹnfa baako yẹ ẹni ntiase ẹnyẹ adwuma ẹwọ tí obodo na medama sẹ kwansẹsẹsẹ ababa abẹgye mímíní mapamfoɔ na ne titiri yẹ ba bẹto abẹ Busumi miensa pepepe de ni ye ba beto ababio wa mahu adwuma MPP abaya baba ye ni ba besre sabato e be mi enfendi agro ya mfanye na semia yenko na emmeye omo
na eno nton channel road minister yera akwasi amoakwata enso editujwa se enshawdo pi na danko ekufado edi egukwema wɔhwɛ sɛ dwumadie ahodoɔ ɛbɛkɔ na no ɛna wɔde ato edwa sɛ wɔn a wɔn ɛdan ɛbɛn ɛkwan a kaa no anaasɛ fidie a wɔn de di dwuma no ɛbɛka no na ne bɛgu agu fam no aban no ayɛ nhyehyɛeɛ sɛ yɛbɛma wɔn sika ɛsomboɔ na wɔn ɛde akɔpɛ ebi asi ɛwɔ bea a aban no de bɛma wɔn sɛ wɔn nkɔsie no omuye omo edu omo ni echiremu ewo tuabodom ema nyuma hodo a aka no omo etimi ede asobo form sanso na de omo eye no nso omo etimi commission a na chese nya asem keto akra ewo ehonom na okopie mo tuabodom no tuabodom chidom hene yewra nana osaijan abebio ono nso ekasai echirem se nana do danko akufo ado befa akonwan wabɔ no homodin yi papa ono ene ne manfo ene ne hemfo atwa no ho ahyia nyinaa wɔmo ede wɔmo ahoɔden ene om bibia ema nana do danko akufo ado se ne be ya obesanya mfie enan aka na memu a obuo no ɛho
I mean, you listen, you are you betting you. So, why you are man of Brussels? Could the way I am telling you, make catch a way to put here. Now, Fiona, yes, I'm found coffee, so you have poem who share SHS free. Now, none of me will be near you, this betting you. If you have me and some person, Fiona, Ranyama, what you may you put to my brain, Napco, food for Hawaii, and I'm carrying 12 crowns and Anna. You're meaning you are able to friend on 19. Why, you wish to say, now. Bibia nyina so so betina TV so na roka fela gares na na ya ukura eti na ya show bo atebu mani yani yankura se ne yankura sabi kwatu amu nyina ra ya show bo se efi na he de onyankopon de wasi akonwa wienti nyina ya tawachi
eno eye atebu chidom hene nana osaijan abebio ena yete ne nka no na maami Cecilia abna dapanzo de tujwa se adwuma na nado danko akufo ado edi no enye enonko anu obedi na emu obehwe se ensuo nsemo enso ewo atebubu ne mpotem no eno nso etimi akonkan yipa
Baby, atebubu amanten ha na seya nyame eye adoma o mampan nyame adom to no na beba be ate so da na so de aso beba be perform na atebubu amanten ani nkura be no nyina bi te se konfia ya to zongo kokofu ni kokompe pompia sene so dobodi akokwa fabasi abamba ani nkura keka ho nyina no ebenya nsuo fi se o mampan oni nsuo ho faso ene esan se ensio emankwa etwoye omampanyin a osabo a odiso etimommpaye efantaye nachi
Ghana yen minister ana oswafo ohwe Ghana yensio ensem eso Mami Cecilia abinada pana yete ne nka ewo ho no nanado danko akufo adon so de aseda ema nananom hemfo a omo enya abre ebehia no na afin so omo etimi edi na chi no mo hwe se ne nyuma hodo a wo ye no mpotemo no ebetimi akonkan ode enase kese ede ma wo mo
no na MPP for the now se duna ya ye eso ani ti esega na for so one moye ni nya kwai ye to adwuma so na ni for more for na na sene east sene west through west, through east. If you tell me, you shall say, to our busy. Who said that we found when you as your solo and the town so? Sabia, Baba, what was it? Yes, so you who you might to be at to me, I am a move. I don't say, Mamma, that's a quite say, some more. I feel the young Francis and constituencies will be all not get to my head. No one have to my one will say yes. Difference will move to my so I feel yeah, Papa said.
Eno eye nana ado danko ekufuado ena yete ne nka ewo ehonum na ene dan so tuapemu edema NDC amayekio no ye maame Jane Nana Opoku Ajiman ode otimi enyabre ene Imani Ghana etimi edi enkomo na enkomo didi mu ano ena Vice President edema Imani Africa Mr. Imani Africa they atoja say wo hwe free education na nhyehyɛ papa na nhyehyɛ beboa ama ahiafo ene wɔn a sikasɛm ho den kakra de ma wɔn no wɔn nyinaa nso etimi anya kwanya ɛwɔ nwoma esuamu na no na yewura Kofi Bentel wɔde atodwa sɛ wo hwe nhyehyɛ a ɛkɔso ɛfa free education ho na na dodanko Akufo-Addo ne naban ɛyɛ na ɛyɛ nhyehyɛ bi a dabi enkoye na ede sikasem anase ede eka kese pa ena abeto yenso enam enhyehyɛ a aban no ede egu efom no nkenkan red gold green ne de kekeka colors ne nyina aje se eno enyina eye enoma bi a ese oman no sika pa o se free education no boy kapa papa Kofi Bentel.
Had an education test before 2002. So if you remember when free SHS came out, we were the only group that robustly advanced arguments against it. And people misconstrue it to say we are against free SHS. We are for free basic education, highlights defined up to secondary level. But that's the good idea does not implement itself. If you want free basic education reaching everybody, the construct, the structure, the arrangement, the container you put it in will determine whether that will work or not. And we thought what was done with free SHS was not going to be the best. And we are seeing it now. People say, well, it's been done and it's successful, if people were against it, etc. We cannot engage with everybody at that level. But the truth of the matter is that free SHS is killing this economy today.
Na sanhye mu na mu ena tuapemu ede Emma John Dramani Mahama so de tujwa se ohwe textbook aban no ede Emma senior high schools for no eye ade bi a entwa yie na se ubetimi ama nkoratwa ensohwe a ene akyerɛkyerɛfo ene wo se motivation kese pa eko Emma omo na enoma esa aban woye no wodi egu akwan mu na textbook a yede ma enkora no eno ye ade bi aban no wa mo ne ho modern.
You are not intended to see it all. People see things you don't see. And as you say, those who are too sensitive to read and read. In fact, we are more interested in the views that oppose ours than those you have, you know them already. But what somebody else is saying. So we are not afraid of being challenged. We think it's important. It's all about the excellence, it's all about the reputation, but you can also begin to grow it elsewhere. It doesn't happen that way. I keep saying that was. And we're not going to do it by buying fast questions. No, I said serious exceptions to that. Okay, we're going to do it by building the children up, by supporting the teachers, by putting the method there for strict supervision and accountability. Accountability goes everywhere. So, by ensuring that the headmaster understands his role as a leader of the academic experience of the students. So if it's workshops they need, give it to them, we start them. And that was when we brought in the private schools too.
Kane so afọ ano hwe ye ngoma sua so na nei wo ye tuapemu de ma John Dramani Mahama ena yete ne nka no ya maame Professor Jane Nana Opoku Ajiman na enrada achim sakawa boys demonstration on eba so anache senya asem keto akra na omo ema John Dramani Mahama enafua miensa se omra bonten on fa me pachew ewo nsem a wode ne ho agi mu no emu na eno ene den so yedanya ne ekue foforo ma omo ne so a omo echirim se omo so eye achimfo omo hwehwe se impumtio ebeba achim eman mu na eno ena omo echirim se ohwe ekue a omo eba bonten a amanfo hyehyɛ akyire amanfo yɛ omo yodium na omo ne achimfo omo hwehwe impumtio pa na eno ena ochirim se omo de nsemfua bɛ se naposo bɛ se edunum aba bonten a omo echirim se science ana demonstration omo eyeye uhwema nsem bia no omo keka kra no na cheze omo ekasa editwitwi amanfo ebi kra trete se omo ebeyi John Dramani Mahama omo oba ho no omo be panabo na omo ede omo nza keka omo no ne nyina eye nsem bia na cheze entwayi na eno ena kane ambassador kane nipa na wosi anemu ede ema Ghana for ewo UK ambassador Victor Smith ononso ede ato edwa se ohwe nsema e course ya NPP for ne kuta fan ena omo bojim pa omo eye amanfo yodium monko ye demonstration na eno ena ema amanfo enso etisi mountain so enrada omo eko ye demonstration.
Yeah, the minister Amayosem na Omoye. It was purely political and high and cry. It is a diversionary attempt to get people not to pay attention to our manifesto and the good things in that manifesto for the people of Ghana. In the area Amayosem engineered by the NPP, but to divert attention. They don't believe what they did yesterday because Obianim interpretation on that Facebook publication regarding Achim Sakawa Mafia de Kawanyano. It was actually a description of certain people in the presidency. To be any Ghana forfeit and no one's
eno Emmanuel Victor Smith one on attending can also to just say ocean sema man for air cancer or mobepa John Dramani Mahama boss will see Achim Mema eno adibia o send money mo ya aposi for ehwe na yeso mumu na yede omo efa emra kwan so
somebody threatening remember so they say something almost polarization almost can say remember President Mahama the NDC for the campaign war the whoever spoke who came in that right to threaten. I think that the police should even arrest those people who said the things they said there. I will call the CID boss and say I heard one guy threatening there the Mahama Hapaha you better want to stone him one of the guys who was talking there said that we will stone him. That is a threat and he should be invited by the CID. You are threatening the leader of the main opposition party with violence.
Eno Emmanuel Victor Smith ono ena yetene nka ewo ehonum na yeko ensefufuru mu se yeko ensefufuru ma ibedwe mu ewo assemblyman fo a omo ewo memu asei yebeka ya John Dramani Mahama de atudwa se nyame adom no ba ne mpre no so a obehwe ama assemblyman fo ewo memu asei yetua wo mo eka asemi ebaye na assemblyman fo no omo emu achemie no wo mo ejidi se John Dramani Mahama ba aketua no betimi abaso ena wo nso wo gidi se John Dramani ba aketua no entimi emaso na enedai ekuo a wo ejidi se John Dramani Mahama ba aketua na ebeboa wo no wo ehia nsɛmtwerɛfo enhyiamu ede adekuru die ntia wo ejidi se John Dramani Mahama ebeboa na ne nyina enesen saketua no eba bema assemblyman fo a wo enye wo dwuma yie na wo sɔre a wo enenam no wamo etimi aboa ama eyi afiri honom na kyerese aketua no betimi aboa ama corruption a assemblyman fofo no etimi engage wamo no betimi eyi afiri honom a enye asemketo akra na saa bosomi aketua wamo bagye no nso eno nso betimi aboa wamo ama motimi adi wamo enyuma omunyuma ahodo na sei ena openia wano okasama ekuo no Emmanuel Kobi oye assemblyman edima asempa na ye ede ensem no eto ensem trefo anim ewo wabra na press conference no ekoso.
Let me emphasize monthly payment of allowances to the assembly members
will provide us with the needed financial support to discharge our functions satisfactorily. The allowances, to some extent, could eschew some of us as an assembly members from seeking petty offers or falling for petty favors from the executives of the assemblies, and thereby compromising our authority to demand accountability. Because we are not paid, because we don't receive any financial support from the central government, the DCs and the technocrats take advantage of the situation and they do whatever they want to do. Because when you go for meetings, you know that it is the DC who is going to give you allowance. But if the government decides to pay us allowances, you will know that we are autonomous. We are there for the people and we work for the people. Ladies and gentlemen from the press, I will serve as, the allowance will serve as a recognition of our effort, which will motivate and energize us to work harder to deepen our decentralization system. We therefore welcome the policy. We wholeheartedly welcome the policy from the NDC yet government to continue in their manifesto with joy and enthusiasm and pray fervently for its realization.
Emmanuel Kobi Mrashi Bejani waye assemblyman Mesremeka mpatemu na din ewo asempa neye ono ena yete ne nka no na osade tudwa se omo eje John Dramani Mohammed ye papa free se wa ba be ye bi pen woka oyo ni dwumadi a obedi ne first time no e kire se assemblyman for omo ewo arishimu se obabiem a payment boshe na wa hye no womo ensa ebeka
2012 but he couldn't. And I am saying that Mahama had priorities. Economists would say scale of preference. So he considered his priorities. And let me say that for me, in my district, our foreign service, we were not having free SHS. We were not having SHS in the district. But through the initiative of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, E-Block is there. So I believe that he looked at that angle before. He saw that if assembly members are empowered, they cannot build the E-Block. So he has to build the E-Block first, build the infrastructure first, so that the allowances given to assembly members will not be burdened.
Eno Emmanuel Kobi ena yete ne nka no na ye call National Association of Law Students omo asuyeye na eno omo ede ato edwa se die omo aye krado se NDC fo nhihye a omo ede ato se omo ba law students omo dwumadi ahodo mu no omo de nhihye begu akwam ama bibia timi asikim no ama omo no omo edi sa nhihye na chi papa ya omo eje ensem no yoyoyo NDC fo ensem no yoyoyo na omo ese eba student law students wo mujumadi ahodo mu a na chese enye edansie anase enye ejapade ahodo enko na emom wode nhihye papa egu akwan a eno de wo edi wachi pa sei ena opini okasa anase oye president ede ema National Association of Law Students oda wo ano Philemon La ede eto ensemtre for enim.
It's not radical because the NPP's option is not radical because they talk about infrastructure, and that's quite misplaced because the problems we face now are not even fundamentally about infrastructure, it's about reform. So hearing that a system would be in place to allow for various faculties to train law students is not coming. Fundamentally, that's it. It's talking about UDS or it's called AFNOF. This is a very important thing because it allows for access for people up north to have legal education. Hitherto, you have to travel all the way from the north just to come have legal education in Accra. So fundamentally, the point is that access is what we want. And the party that allows for access is what the law students of this country would support. Okay. The thing is that the NPP option is just infrastructure as presented by the manifesto of the NPP. Right. They say they will increase the radical infrastructure means in order to accommodate. But we are saying that infrastructure is a long-term measure. We are looking for something that is short-term. In the worst case, in the medium term, and that short-term, medium-term option is what the NDC provides. And the National Association of Law Students is open to the option that allows for radical transformation reforms in the legal education attention in this country. That cannot be cut so far as it can catch mice. That's our position. Be a political objective because, well, let me be cautious in mentioning it, but we have several other leaders within the National Association of Law Students who belong to different partisan persuasions. We do not care what political color is in face. What we care about is reforms in legal education, and whichever party it is that provides that is what we stand by. It is not about an NDC leader of the National Association of Law Students or an MPP leader, because we are made up of people from different political colors in this country. It is immaterial our political persuasion. What is material, what is imminent, what is patriotic at this point is reforms in legal education. Nothing about or nothing beyond reforms in legal education. Material.
Now, I know, hey, you're Philemon La, or no, a president at the National Association of Law Students. Now, the two just say, and you must say, some for because, and I'm for NDC for share, so the NDC for, or this answer, one more at a break. Now, Omo the more pan say a baby bay and she say, and she say, Beboa Law School, no so, and yes, and she say, one more say, ma, no more baby, so yo. That's all she say, Beboa Law School in India, and yes, so do it, no.
It's open to reforms in legal education. The association is happy about the NDC alternatives. The association is willing and ready to partner with this government if they will immediately cause reforms in legal education. Students in the Ghana School of Law have to pay as much as 1,500 cedis just to have their paper remarked in case they feel that it's been unfairly marked. That should end. Post-course students would go to train in other Commonwealth jurisdictions and come to Ghana and pay as much as £6,000 just to have legal education. That should end. These are options, these are problems that the government can, as a matter of policy, be able to effect. And we are guided by the fact that under Section 1, Subsection 5 of the Legal Professions Act, the Attorney General has powers to give general policy directions to the General Legal Council. The General Legal Council shall comply. The Attorney General is an appointee of this government, of this president, and we hope that by the direction of the Attorney General, the General Legal Council will begin to consider some of these problems that students are facing. Any option that gives us radical, immediate solutions to reforms in legal education is what we champion for. We care only about the interests of our students.
I know a Philemon La, and yeten and can ewo a honor or a president at the National Association of Law Students. Yete omo enka ewo decision o mateki se o hwe abano NDC omo manifesto na omo ahihye pa edema law students no nti ena omo nso oye president no omo nyina agi atum se womo ebeko na omo edi ana omo agi atum se omo ebedi NDC amanyuku nachi se ne ba omo ebefa kunwa na ehihye no ebetimi aboa law students na yeko Amanse South in Corona or Honey Mama called Mansoda de any munim o pe a mensina a woman has here one more acquiring outdoor and I say or my cat you won't pump to mupa any Amanse South or more eka hubi one more incru outdoor no in Cronum be or honoma light impo a bit enim cania de cania a dear sign who say tum separating bagim sanso ena servicing so enye say ebia wako also open network na ko wetie akwantufoɔ radio online obede no wenya network papa now de etie o phone no ko ache so yi battery no eto onom efiri so untimi mfre obi sanso ena obi so entimi emfrɛ na ensuo to akwan enyenyenyenyenyenyenyenyenye asese bi wa free garam say amnemu ena wapie ubeduru kumase a wani wo ni nyina ene sen ekwan a wo ho nyina enye ekwan no say ko ade friend ekwan tuntum de omunhu bi da obi atena ho be say 70 years 80 years so amekuma se anase we pekwan bi so anko ba bi ani a ade friend ko ta de wonhunu bi na kopem se wako adakamnem na eno ena emebuna ewo honom womo ede abetudwa se aban no amma womo ammoa na wentimi amaye womo akwan ene womo post ne ade a enye enho a na se enya asem keto akra womo ewo manso enchemia sanso ena manso fihia kobo manso aboso ene enkura etwa ho ahia no emabunu no akabom de ensem atonsem trefo anim se yemfa ensem no ensoma na enkonkodru omampani his excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo na ontibi se omo ewa ahokyere mu pa empumto enkoso kania eni honom sanso na omo ekwan awdo enye schools nso a omo ewom ni nyina entwa yie ba kokra ode teacherfo ba ho se omo emetena wa otena wa otwa be one time ape na ape ekwan so ba kwan bi so na wafiri honom efisa asetena ho no emo odin yie papa na eno ena emabuni eka omo ho bo mu a omo ede ene egu afidie so se emo na amansan nyina entibi se omo ewo ahokyere mu pa eno nti omo ehia Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo se omra na omo emeyi omo moa na omo ejumedi awdo no omo enye anyesa abato no eduru so a omo ento abano omo be boycott afi 2020 December 7 general election na yebeto no omo enyimra se bedwani sanso ena omo enyi omampani no omo hu se omo so enka Ghana for ho
and kodam say abaya ba party bia akọ nanso ye kuro imu ye mpuntuo bia nti esremo a monka bi mai
say afia ye ni abre yina ha kasare ye ni abre papa because 92 ni ato aba so aba me light pa anya de bi pa si be gina say ye to aba so wide ni say ye school for nimpo ye ba fia ye ba betwe nso hwe no aye twe no online no be cha ye fun pe hwa ye din de be say be type price safaka kukuma se ase na kwakọ exams na san aba that means say Ghana ye de enka ho ana if you memfa anko echi de kwa COVID-19 ba yi na say obi a kuni free and I say a bank as to be antenna free and go and work kakra in him say e-learning platforms by in team you create light in the network you be the benefit free sa na manimu
yeah higher no say ye ni kania ye ka tra ban say onu awe amabo no na bua
eno eye mabunu no bia womo ewo manso nchemia manso aboso manso finya kobo sa enso ene enkro awdo atwa asia ho no ewo amanse south ho ena omode ensem yi eto edwa ewo eho na ohina owo kronum kroti hina owo kronum ho eye Nana Mensa Brampa manso nchemia kroti hine e de atodwa se sansem no wate na ono so ofwa ne mabunu no so papa se obi efri lockdown ba ya amafo dwane ko mo nkrase waba se wo besua de enkra ba ho nyina ntimi ansua de anwumre ni nyina ene sen light ni kro no mo beda ansua de o papa touch light na wo de kwa akoda no ofema ansua de na ono so pe bibia afa kani aben no de be hwehwa de kro na se mabunu no kan bibi se dia ono so a wo ye kro ntihine no wafua mabunu no so pa eyie kopem se light ana se enoma hodo a dimpumtuo eba na de ahosepe ebre enipa no omo so manso nchemiafo omo enye bia eye
mpuntuo so akachi ye kwaya sei aban bia ba wo moaye ye mpifo no omuntuo mo ni mehwe nti amanse se emrantie ne ni abre omo de pressure si ahemfo ne committee fo no so se si entua na mo a omo beye didi akire yen yeta omo chief se de omo ye no eboa nti ye besa aban no asote anase MP jisi wote se sisi a no ye de sumu amani bra kan yen ye kwanye ese esutro mienu ye ni aha ne efri se ye ni light ye kwa nso nye ye suku enso enye enipa nche miempo de ye nyamba kire de no akawirum sisi a nti emrantie no ye ta omachi se sa de no omo ye na se samamu a omo ye no ye poa omo se aban entwele ni amahwan anye kwatitire ni enkane ano amaye de a abato de ye nto aba afi
Nana Mensa Brampa eye manso nchemia kroti hire ono ena yete ne nka no na tse ensem no aye pinso ewo amanse south ehonom na yede nsem wei esoso nyina ye COVID-19 say case ababeka dada no hono eye 125 new cases ena abeka ho ewo COVID-19 no emu eno nti empanifo kirem se omo abo test enye test keto akra wamo etimi abo 450,872 test ena omo etimi abo ewo ehonom na 125 new cases etimi abano etimi abwa ama total case etimi enya no 45,313 na recoveries no 44,188 188 na omo efrim no eye 283 omo efrim no eye 283 and active case eye 8422 ewo ehonom ache se ne ensema ye de besom mo se trending news no aha ene ye de apem midin ede Edward Donko edema se ema monitor adesi
heba Danny beat
Edie dwabo na wowobo se ye dintuo obi awoda eyie anasempo ekuo bi pnoto akwantufo media services wonkrofo a ebonwoma efatama ne awobo ye biara wobo bedwam kasafo a aprofo frene se MC a wonano so atiye ena wosan so wo enuane noafo a wonu enuane ahodo pia ehotie ena video ena infoni twafo a wo ba betwa mfoni papa bi efe a wo de beka